Hi there, and welcome to the Personal Trainers Who Care podcast. This is a show where I, Riley, the Director of Social Media and Marketing at Freeform Fitness, interview some of our personal trainers because at the heart of every great fitness business are the people who know how to get their clients results and who help them realize their full health potential. This is a production of Freeform Fitness, a boutique-style personal training studio with 6 locations across Ottawa, Canada. Our personal trainers provide expert services both online with FFF Virtual and in studio when we're not in lockdowns. All right, without further ado, let's get into this next episode of the Personal Trainers Who Care podcast. Okay, so for our third episode of the Personal Trainers Who Care podcast, we have Colin from our Canada location, where he's both a personal trainer and the manager of the Canada location. He has certifications from Boxing Ontario, ACE, HeartWise, Parkinson Wellness Recovery. Colin is passionate about boxing and has competed in bodybuilding competitions. He's won track and field championships. And he should be getting married at some point this year, though I feel like the current lockdown situation may have postponed that. And interesting fact, Colin used to be a professional wrestler under the wrestling names Colin Carnage and Crimson Shadow. So, Colin, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. And yeah, the wedding is still inching forward.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah, last I heard it was supposed to be happening in like a month or so. So you might be
May 29th. We're hoping that this current lockdown will end just before the wedding takes place.
We are all keeping our fingers crossed for you. What a time for, these major life events, birthdays and weddings and all those things. Just, you never know. You really just can't really predict if it's going to go through.
Yeah.
So I just want to talk about it right away. Crimson Shadow, Colin Carnage. How did you become a professional wrestler? What was that like?
When I was in school, obviously in high school, I was doing a lot of the backyard wrestling. Next to boxing, it was like a huge passion. And that was my big plan. As soon as I was done high school, I wanted to go train. And luckily, not luckily, but just happenstance, the trainer that opened up a school in Ottawa called Battleground Academy, his wrestling name was Dave Dalton. He just injured himself or got injured in WCW, World Championship Wrestling. Wow. And then he, in 2002, he started his training school and on the Quebec side, and I was like, perfect. So graduated high school, went right into wrestling training, and that's what I spent from 2001, 2002, all the way to around 2007 before getting injured, and then kind of in and out after that time period.
Nice. So six years before a significant enough injury to end up taking a step back.
Yeah, I broke my I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I had my wrist shattered and the whole thumb bone blew up, and then they had to do surgery where they took bone from my hip and turned it into a new thumb bone. Wow. So it took about a year in a cast before the bone actually fused before my body accepted the new bone. So a whole year of I tried to wrestle on it for about 4 months, but then I had to take all that time off, and then I went into school at Algonquin, and then at that point I went into Brazilian Jiu Jitsu after
that. Okay, got you. That's crazy that they rebuilt your thumb bone out of a piece of your hip.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's so cool. Okay, so let's rewind for just a second. You were doing some backyard wrestling in high school. That's fun. Yeah. But outside of the backyard wrestling, was there anything else that you were doing, like any other sports or going to the gym at that time? How did fitness sort of enter your life?
Yeah, well, I was always a big sports. Played a lot of sports, so all the way from the age of, let's say, 8, as far back as I can remember. It was probably swimming classes, and Mousecapades. What the hell is that called? It was like, I just remember there's a logo of a mouse. You learn how to skate. And then there was hockey, baseball, a little bit of football, lots of soccer, and did all those sports. And then my passion for weightlifting and training, when I was 15 years old, my parents bought me one of those weight sets with the long skinny bars and the skinny little silver plates or gray plates.
Yeah.
And so I had enough equipment down there so I could have a little gym, and then all the kids from the neighborhood, we used to just go and work out, so it became the home gym. and then that was my introduction to weightlifting. It was all the old Flex magazines and bodybuilder magazines back in the early 90s and 2000s.
Yeah, I feel like everybody, like from, 90s, early 2000s will have that vision of those just like bars, and like if you'd stub your toe on them, you broke your toe. Like these things were sturdy pieces of equipment. So you've been managing a gym since you were 15. Look at that.
Yes.
That's awesome. So, obviously the wrestling thing was a big part of this. Was there there's obviously the technique of wrestling, but were you also having to do physical training on the side? Did you have like a personal trainer or a coach for that side of things during your wrestling career?
No. When I first started wrestling, my best friend was getting into bodybuilding. So we would just have conversations back and forth, because I was, I guess, just on the fringe. The wrestling world and the bodybuilding world are very closely related. So there's a lot of conversations about lifting, diet, nutrition. So I did have gym passes in Ottawa. There was a Florida Fitness back in the day, which is like, I guess, the big chain before Good Life moved in and bought them all. So I would spend a lot of my time at Florida Fitness, 24-hour gym, and then, like I said, going through the old Flex magazines and seeing all the workouts from, we had Flex Wheeler and Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler and all those guys, Lee Priest, and just going through their workouts and just kind of emulating them in the gym.
Yeah. And so did that, was wrestling, and because you did bodybuilding as well, right? You've competed in bodybuilding. Did that happen at the same time, or was it like when wrestling ended?
Oh, the bodybuilding thing that's pretty recent. That was only like 5 years ago. That was me just like deciding, I was like, I'm in pretty good shape. Let's give this a shot. It went well. I kind of messed up my podium standings. It's on film, obviously captured, but it was a bit of I didn't do so well. I kind of buggered up the poses. I could see my coach, doing one of these in the audience, just like, what is he doing? I did a men's physique. It's 3 poses. That's all you have to do is 3 poses. Mm-hmm. And I went into I don't know the actual names of the bodybuilding, but I went from pose 1, instead of transitioning into my back pose, I hit a
like
flex
Arnold
pose. Yeah, an Arnold pose. And then while I was transitioning back to showing back, I was just, what did I do?
You were just into it in your mind. You're like, I know what I want to show off, and I'm gonna just break the rules a bit here.
Anyways, I have to redeem myself on that. It definitely is on the bucket list to do it again and not throw in a random pose.
Yeah. You'll never make that mistake ever again.
Yeah.
So after the wrestling, what did you get into next? What was the next step if bodybuilding wasn't?
Yeah, no, after wrestling, when my arm healed, I went to school, and it was Algonquin. And then I was like, okay, I'm working out at the gym there, and I was like, I need something to do because I like competition. I've always liked sports. I like competing. Competing is like the main thing I like. And then that's when I went into the Gracie Awama school, the original one on Carling. So I started doing kickboxing and Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. So we'll say that's around 2007.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my coaches was Nick. Nick actually currently, he left Awama and he runs a great school. If anyone's looking for a mixed martial arts school in Barrhaven.
Oh.
So the Gracie Braha.
Mm-hmm.
Out there in Barrhaven. So back in the day, I started a lot of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and that's been going well.
I know.
Still into that now.
I'm now getting that back in my mind that you did say that right after wrestling, the next thing that was the Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. And our first episode for this was with Jesse, and he's been doing Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, but out in Carlton Place, I believe. So for you, I mean, why Brazilian Jiu Jitsu? Was it just sort of one of the things on offer at that school that ended up, working well or resonating with you? What did you really like about Brazilian Jiu Jitsu?
Yeah, what do I like about Brazilian Jiu? I really like the workout. It's a great workout. It is similar to wrestling because there's not a lot of wrestling schools in the city. There's only like one, and I didn't know about it back then. I'm not sure if it was even operating in 2007. But out of all the sports that are similar to wrestling and grappling, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu kind of offered that same vibe. And then I really enjoyed it. I liked the shoot wrestling, the submission aspect of it. You can be a little cheeky in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu where you can, I like it because you can be just that little bit smug where you just throw in a little bit of a grinding forearm across someone's like nose, just to sell that they're there. And, no one really complains. They know that the next time, you're going to get one too. And I like that. I saw point on Jesse. It's just I beat him in a tournament one time. I think it was the Ottawa Open or it was Next Gen.
There you go. Well, Jesse, you've officially been called out here on the podcast. That I didn't realize that you two had competed against each other. I'm sure we'll have to have another rematch. Are you still doing Brazilian Jiu Jitsu?
With the gyms being on and off, no, at this moment. I do train. Right now I'm training in parks and in basements, and I'm, I guess I'll consider myself a Ronin. I'm kind of I bounce between a lot of schools. I don't have an official club right now. My full-time training is with Team Algonquin, at the Algonquin College, Team Ronin. But with it being inside the college, it will not be returning until schools are officially bringing back their training. So
which again, who knows when that's going to happen?
Yeah, exactly. So you find your training where you can right now.
Yeah, totally. Do you have like a setup at home or anything for you to continue training?
Yeah, I spent the last year with COVID being shut down over the summer. I started buying mats, and my basement is just completely lined with mats right now. I do have some bars and some boxing bags and heavy bags and stuff like that, but it's a nice roll. Little Stuttgart dungeon down there.
Yeah. Has your fiance ever sort of joined training at any point?
No.
No. I've seen couples who do jiu-jitsu together, and like if the partner is not into Brazilian jiu-jitsu, it's a lot to like help out with.
Yeah. I brought her one time in Mexico. When we go on vacations, I always look for dojos to go train in. So our last time we got to go somewhere, it feels like 2 years ago now. We were in Mexico, and there was a Gracie Braha school there, and we walked for like 30-40 minutes outside the tourist area, and then I brought her to the gym, and they were showing her the basics, and I was like, come roll, and she was like, no, and then she learned how to shrimp. So she still remembers that. That's kind of the where her training for jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and shrimp.
Slow and steady, you know.
Yeah,
She'll
yeah,
she'll she'll
exactly.
get
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So at what point through all of your training did you decide that personal training was what you wanted to do?
Yeah. I want to get into coaching. So I love boxing. I love competing and fighting. So I got my boxing coaching certification. And to tie into that, I just recently got my wrestling coaching certification through Wrestling Canada as well. So my ultimate goal is to coach people, future athletes. So I realized I needed to get a little bit more knowledgeable on how to train and deal with people. So that's when I decided to make the transition from a 9 to 5 into personal training. You know, and I definitely learned good skills on where you can't dealing with the general public who aren't athletes. Obviously, you're not going to be able to push someone at 100% all the time, and no one wants that. This feels a little awkward. You can't be like, just do it. You can't,
Yeah.
pick the damn weight, pick the weight up and lift it again. You can't have that drill sergeant mentality. So I learned a lot how to pull back and learn a lot more of the we'll call it social one-on-one understanding. Everybody's on a different level, everybody's looking for different needs and different wants. So yeah, that was the biggest thing I got from with personal training that I was really looking for when I decided to get into it.
Okay. And when you said you were at Algonquin, was that for fitness and health or for something else?
No, for something else. I took business management and a part of an accounting course.
Ah, okay. Very
Yeah.
exciting. Very exciting.
And then no, I took my personal training certification initially was through Carleton University
Oh.
through their sports and athletic high performance center. They were doing an association with WITS. So I decided to do that program because Carleton was promoting it. So I was like, okay, well, I'll do that.
Yeah, and I know Carleton University, they have a wicked sports complex. So that would have been a cool place to learn at. And I imagine they probably had some pretty good instructors for that course.
Yeah, the instructor was Dave. I am blanking on his last name. He's a renowned in the powerlifting community. He's going for his doctorate right now.
Wow.
And Super Dave is his nickname. He used to run back in the day when TSN used to have their powerlifting, Canadian powerlifting program. I don't know if anybody remembers that. I think it was just before the steel, a lot of the wood chopping competitions too. So early 90s, once again, he was he was on TSN, and he made his name back in the day as a Canadian powerlifter.
That is very cool. Before my time, but
Yeah.
I'll make sure to include links to Super Dave. I'll look him up after this and
Yeah.
make sure that I include it in the show notes on this. I mean, what a unique experience to be learning from somebody who's pretty well established in the industry. Also to learn about personal training from a powerlifting guy who's sort of been very immersed in the sports world as well. I feel like that marriage between training and sports was probably perfect for you, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Definitely. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really great. Now, when you're training your current clients, because you've talked about coaching, are you bringing some of those like athletic elements to their personal training?
Yeah, I sometimes not everybody's looking for that. It gives me definitely a wide variety of options to go from. whether it's mobility, even going into more, I'm thinking like the spiritual aspect of martial arts, going into like some Tai Chi and yoga, some of the explosiveness from the sports athletics training, or just people looking for strength. I think the majority of people are just looking for good health at Freeform Fitness and just getting good movement patterns. So I have had some athletes come in, and I definitely love training athletes and pushing them and trying new things that I've seen high profile trainers do.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think I have used it, but definitely being a Freeform, it's all about having the ability to adapt to what the client's needs are.
Yeah, absolutely. Who are some of those higher level trainers that you're sort of keeping an eye on and learning from?
One is Dr. Joe Seidman. He trains a lot of sports athletes. He loves dealing with time under tension and balance, a lot of balance workouts. So I do a lot of his style of squat and single leg deadlift that he does. And the other guy, I'm trying to think, Squat University.
Right.
I don't know if you're familiar. Yeah, so I like their understanding of how the mechanics work of the body. And the third guy that I started to get into recently, he's more of an MMA coach, Doug something. He just started training, what's the actor from King of Queens?
I don't know that show.
Yeah.
I don't watch that show.
Timberland. He just got Timberland as a client as well.
Oh.
And he trained, I'm so bad at names if they're not boxers. The MMA fighter that just beat Conor McGregor in his last fight. So he trained him to his victory. And once that happened, that's when all the celebrities started. He gained a lot of popularity for defeating Conor McGregor.
Yeah, I feel like that's usually how it goes. They see the athlete being trained by someone specific, and then celebrities are like, I can do that too.
Yeah. So those three are the main ones that I've been following.
Nice. So a good sort of broad range. I know of Squat University, but it's interesting to hear about that other coach who does a lot of training on balance. Because I think of balance as something that you sort of like have as a younger person, and then as you get older you sometimes lose it. But if this guy is training athletes and one of his main focuses is balance, that's really interesting. Does he are there any sort of standout exercises or methodologies that he uses to train balance that you've been able to implement?
Yeah, like I said, there's different varieties of so the main ones would be different varieties of single leg deadlifts, or single leg deadlifts and split squats kind of blend into each other. So airplanes, I don't know if you're familiar with that yoga move, airplane, stuff like that. I definitely I incorporate a lot of that into my training. I look at it like balance is important, those stabilizers, for when we get older, because people do lose their balance more and more as we age, or we lose the stabilizing ability to shift, to have our body compensate if we go one way, to understand where we are in time and space, and then correct it. And that's usually when most falls start to take place in older individuals, because their body just doesn't have the compensation to stop, and then people will just continue in one direction.
Yeah, there isn't that same it's not that like same immediate, like what do they call them, like reflex arcs, where it's actually it just goes to the spinal cord and then back to the spot that's losing balance, and it responds faster than your brain realizes that it's happening or something, right?
Yeah Pretty much.
Yeah. But it's a good point. I mean, for me to be saying, you have balance as a young person, then you lose it when you get older, and then you're saying, yes, you lose it when you get older, so make sure it's really good now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's awesome. Okay, so let's talk about Freeform Fitness for a bit. This is a Freeform Fitness podcast. You are a
Yes.
manager with us. So how did you arrive at Freeform?
Well, just like any young or startup trainer, looking for the, opportunities in the industry. I was working briefly, I guess at a time with, a group fitness competitor in the city, and then did some shadowing with Vanya over at Wellington, which I learned a lot from, the way that she, handles different, clients, older and younger, just seeing the different style. And an opportunity arrived to work in Canada. There would just happen to be some transition going on at that location, so I was able to slide right in. And I've enjoyed the experience with Freeform a lot, and seeing the industry obviously change in a short amount of time due to COVID and online training.
Yeah, I was going to say you started at the Canada location in 2018, right?
Yeah, I'll say December 2018.
Oh, December 2018. Oh my gosh. Okay, so
No.
so you had about a year and a bit
Yeah, year and a bit. So yeah,
before
2018.
everything
Yeah.
changed.
Yeah.
Before everything changed. Have you picked up any other specializations since you started with us?
Just the ones that you were mentioning. I was working at the beginning when I was at Freeform in Canada. I started working at Boxing for Health, which specializes in Parkinson's. So I have my that's what it's called, PWR. Anyways, Parkinson's Wellness Recovery.
Right.
So I'm specialized in with Parkinson's. Did the course with Catherine from the Wellington location. She was there as well. So that was good. Just once I became manager at Canada, it was very difficult to handle the clients, handle the administration, and then jump back and forth to run the Parkinson's. And so I definitely had to, not let one thing go. And then from there, I've been doing a lot of coaching certifications. So I finished the wrestling certification. I actually was just for fun, was doing a bunch of the hockey certifications. So they don't really transition into personal training. But understand the wrestling one does, because there's understanding how to deal with programming, learns a lot on different types of training. Some of it's a little bit more geared towards athletes with speed, endurance, power, strength, just separating them and just understanding the phases, how to maximize your results.
Yeah, it just clicked in my head when you said that you've done a little bit of like the hockey coaching stuff. I know we have a fair amount of golfers across our locations. It's a big sport amongst our sort of general population clients. Have you been able to apply any of the hockey training to any of the golfers in location?
No, I have not applied the golf and the hockey into each other, but I have trained a couple people for golf. It was for what I ended up doing with that is I did a lot of research on like what golfers or how they were training themselves.
Okay.
So I would research and like Rory McIlroy, Tiger Woods, and weird. I don't pay attention to who's the new golfers out there right now. But I would search them up, and then I would like make a hybrid of like, oh, this exercise across the board seems to be really popular amongst all the golfers. So then that became my golf program.
Hey, that's a pretty smart way to go about it, is to just sort of like, where's the trends? amongst the best golfers in the world, how can I bring that to our up and coming golf pros at Freeform Fitness?
Yeah.
Okay, so you had a year at Freeform Fitness, and then 2020 hit. Would you say that managing a location, especially in the fitness industry, has been the most challenging part of your work at Freeform?
Oh, yeah.
Pandemic, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. Running the whole show and making sure everything's good, especially with everything hitting the pandemic. I'm not gonna lie, it is stressful at times. You're feeling the pressure. Just like, I'm not a small business owner, but it's I look at it like my job to make sure this facility is running properly, and I feel the stress and the pressure of wanting to make sure I'm not being impacted. But COVID and the shutdowns and the lockdowns are definitely they take a toll on you.
Yeah, and as a manager of the location as well, you're managing not only your own clients as a personal trainer, but now you're also managing your trainers as well, and sort of making sure that they're cared for, throughout all the lockdowns.
Yeah, and you want them to have clients, and you're trying to make sure their schedules are full, and yeah, it's definitely been an interesting. What are we going on? A year and a bit now? No, 1 year.
1 year, yeah, just a little over 1 year. It's. I feel like I say this in every meeting that I have, is that I just I'll skip over 2020. I'll be like, oh, something was a year ago, but it happened in 2019. It's completely messed up, the timeline and just everything. But no, I think it's fair that you said that it's stressful. It is, and I just sort of want to stay on that for a little bit longer, especially within the fitness industry, is that there is a responsibility to people's health, both physical and mental health, right? So for you as a trainer, how have you been adapting your training to this new sort of online, ever-changing world due to lockdowns? How have you adapted it to this situation, I guess?
Yeah, they definitely don't feel like it's definitely not as personal being on camera. For myself, I definitely like looking at people's form and I do a lot of balance stuff. I find I can't do that so much online because you're worried that you want to be there if they lose their balance a bit.
Yeah.
So the fitness just goes, a lot more body weight. You definitely need to have a nice variety of body weight. Core becomes very important when dealing with online training, and then it's kind of whatever equipment people have. So everybody's home gyms, there's definitely a variety between no equipment and a full-blown gym. For myself, I love running. My workouts don't always transition very well, like my personal workouts on the camera that good, because I'll do things, body weight stuff, holds, and not, there's kind of a calisthenic level to them that not everybody's able to do. I like to run. I do a lot of rolling around, kind of gymnastics style. It's like kids playing. So I do a lot of gymnastics, rolling, stretching, jumping, hopping. And then for myself, I built a chin-up bar in my backyard last COVID.
Cool.
So I do a lot. I can still do chin-ups from home. I can hang a boxing bag out there. So I do a lot of boxing too. Which you can teach people the basics of boxing, but just doing my own workout on a bag, once again, doesn't transition too well into recording it.
Yeah,
so that is how I've been working out over the last year.
And I know that Serge at the Canada location, he's also really into calisthenics. Do you two sort of trade notes on calisthenic training?
Yeah, I definitely, we definitely are a decent mix when we're dealing with some clients. And I love, poke, like out of the corner of my eye, I might see a workout that I haven't seen before. He's got a couple, so and I like to use them.
Yeah.
I'm really big into that, seeing what other trainers are doing and trying to slide that into my workout.
Yeah.
And some clients are like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "Well, the other trainer did it, so
Yeah.
it works. We can do it."
I saw Serge doing it. I trust Serge.
Yeah, exactly.
He trains with the police academy, right?
Well, he's retired RCMP officer. So Serge, one of our trainers, great trainers at the Freeform Canal location.
Mm-hmm.
He's an ex-RCMP officer, and his job at the RCMP was to ensure that the officers were maintaining their physical fitness requirements. Mm. And then he did his time, served with the RCMP, and now he works government, and you can catch him on Thursdays, Tuesdays, and weekends.
Nice. Good little plug for Serge there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So what's been like I know that this past year has been difficult, but have there been any like really encouraging or successful moments like that's happened, not just in the last year, but in the last, 2 or 3 years? What's been a really big moment for you as a personal trainer?
Yeah, I feel like definitely over this last year, with on and off, I've found my kind of style. I think it's every trainer, has a style, and I was looking for it. And when you start off, for me especially, it was maybe a little aggressive, trying to get people to train like athletes.
Yeah.
and then I had to pull back, and then I was a little intimidated, not wanting to push people that hard, and so I found a nice balance. And then now I'm getting everybody's seeing the results. Getting people, whether it's 10 pounds, 15 pounds, or 20 pounds of weight loss, and maintaining it. That's always I always enjoy the achievement of that, and I felt like this year, I even with COVID, even with COVID, people put on a little bit of their own weight at home, but we've been doing good. Our time back at the gym, we dropped it really quickly, which they'll take that as my biggest achievement, the fact that I was able to put everybody back to what they were pre-COVID, and
mm-hmm.
Consistently with everybody.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's really great. And I'm curious, I'm going to sort of put you on the spot here, but how would you describe your training philosophy now that you feel like you've sort of gotten in the groove?
It's like a mixture between like balance, and strength mixed in with definitely balance, strength, and a little bit of explosive power. So kind of just circular. Yeah, I don't really have a name for it. Balance, strength, and explosive power.
That's yes, very, very sort of simple, sort of point form training philosophy. But if you think about it, you need balance. You're going to need strength to just sort of get through the rest of your life. And that explosive power, this is a side of training that not a lot of people realize is important. Like having that explosiveness, whether you're an athlete or an everyday person, to just be able to require your muscles and your joints to move from nothing to a lot quickly. It is valuable.
Yeah. And I have learned over the last couple of months how to use the explosive power in a way that's, I don't know if most people are thinking like box jumps. You don't need a large, you don't need to jump, you don't need to hop to target the same muscles. To get a little sciencey here.
Yeah,
for instance, if you're using, so the way it works is, if you're doing an exercise, and you're pausing before you lift, that's kind of explosive strength. So if you're just going through the motions, we'll use bench press for instance, where you're going up and down, and the non-scientific term for that is called elastic muscles. So you're just going up and down. You do shoulder press. You can do it for pull downs, anything where you're just constantly moving forward and backwards in one position, push-ups. And then your other transition, which is explosive, if you were doing bench and you bring it down to the bottom, and then you don't just bring it back up, you have to hold it there for a second for where it completely levels off, and then you have to explode up. So you can do it with like minimal weight, or you can do it with a lot of weight. That just creates way more power. So you can do it with bench press. You can do it with shoulder press, where you're holding and pausing everything at the bottom and then exploding up. Anything pull downs, you can like kind of pause halfway in the lift, and then have to bring it back down the set, halfway back down. So you can use that style with any type of lifting, and it gets more into like ADPE, sugar levels. Just creates different strength dynamics.
We're gonna have you on again just to explain all of the physiological stuff that goes on in order to achieve explosive power.
Yes.
And if you think about it, like I'm in my mind when you're talking about like a deadlift going from the bottom and then bringing yourself up, like my grandmother, she lives by herself, and so she has all these grocery bags that she used to pick it down from the floor, and it takes her a little bit to stand back up. So it's sort of like if you can train that explosiveness, right, it would help with that sort of everyday task, right?
Yeah, you can definitely relate any workout. That's the one thing we did in the Parkinson's, is you're trying to really make sure you relate your movements into everyday life. Especially important for people with Parkinson's, because even reaching into a cupboard becomes a little bit more challenging. So you're just wanting, that's different mentality, but that's just about making sure it's functional and you're getting full extensions out of everything. So grocery would be the same thing. That's a natural deadlift, putting them down on the ground, having to lift everything up. I always use when I talk about shoulder muscles, I always explain to people like, when your front delts are going to be strongest because we lift everything up in front of us, and like our side delts are going to be set, a little bit weaker because the most that we lift holding everything up to the side is grocery bags.
Yeah.
And then your rear delts, I'm like, we never lift anything with our rear delts, so that's why they're always the weakest.
Yeah, there's never any I just don't know how you would do that. I can imagine like pulling something towards you, but that just ends up being your back, right? Like the bigger muscles.
Exactly. your lats and stuff.
Okay, so how would you say, I mean COVID is pretty obvious, we're now online, but how would you say the fitness industry as a whole has changed in the last 5 or 10 years?
Okay, one is I was picturing everybody's booty shots while working out on social media. It doesn't matter if you're lifting arm curls, the camera will be facing behind someone. So that's a big trend.
Yeah.
Number one. So if you can master that, you can become an influencer in fitness. Number two, watching more of pay for the online, the sessions that you can pay for online. The quality of people's digital fitness and workouts that are being posted everywhere. So everybody's putting a lot more care into it, so it's not just a grimy gym.
Yeah.
someone explaining lifting anymore. There's so much of that out there. And what else am I seeing? A lot of group fitness online. Definitely is picking up.
And like having that sort of integrated system, like Peloton, where it's like you buy a piece of equipment and then you also have online,
Yeah.
No, that's huge. And I was gonna say, when you're talking about like taking this sort of belfies is what I've heard them be called.
Okay.
Belfies, like that is, I think it's a thing that personal trainers actually are wrestling with now, is that the sort of measure of someone's credibility is not just like you having experience with all of these different types of sports. You've been lifting for years. You actually have courses under your belt. Like, you have credibility in your personal training because you've done the training for it, you know?
Mhm.
Whereas these people who just like look nice in an outfit and have good lighting, you know, they are now making tons of money online selling people fitness programs. So that is definitely a big thing. I remember when I was still personal training, it was always something that I personally wrestled with, because I was like, I have done all this work to be someone credible, and I am not, you know, getting the same attention maybe as these people online. So it's that's definitely a big change in the last 10 years for sure.
Yeah, I'm still struggling a little bit, to be honest, with trying to find a voice online. I admit that the kids, or the younger kids at the gyms now, they're really good at the online social media. Sometimes I feel like I'm just a wee bit out of the age group, where sometimes I don't care about online, and sometimes I do care. So I fiddle around with things, but I definitely feel like I could be a little better.
Well, I know your fiance works in marketing, you know?
Yes.
You've got a direct source to all of the secrets of how to make it online.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Well, she's really busy right now. She's actually off to go interview Jagmeet Singh right now.
What?
So, yeah.
That is cool. I see him on TikTok. He's everywhere right now.
Yeah, he's a social media star. So she's going to be hosting, to get into what she does in political stuff, off track topic. She's going to be hosting the NDP convention this week.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good for her. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay, so maybe a little less time for helping you with your online fitness career, but you'll have lots of time to really craft the type of brand that you want to create online. And then when she's done doing all of those very important things, she'll be ready, and you'll be ready.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, so I like to sort of close out these interviews with 3 rapid fire questions. So just first thing that, you know, pops into your mind, just let me know, and feel free to elaborate. As much as I say rapid fire, they don't have to be like, you know, one word. Okay, so question number 1. What's something you know now that you wish you knew when you first started personal training?
I'm going to just go with the online. Getting more comfortable. I wish I would have started that. Just getting used to it then.
It's a very good point. I think that having online skills and becoming comfortable in front of a camera and doing that type of thing, like, it's necessary now, you know? So that's a good point. Okay, so question number 2, what is the first skill that you teach a beginner client?
First skill I teach a beginner client is don't worry about don't worry about the weight, and don't worry about failing in the gym. Just try it out. The gym is a place where you can definitely fail. So just try and fail, and that's it.
That is brilliant. And I think it's the first mindset skill that we've had on the podcast is talking about, like, you're gonna not be perfect the first time that you do a squat or a deadlift if you've never done them before. So don't be afraid to fail. And that's the beauty of working with a personal trainer, is you have somebody there to just be like, that's okay.
Yeah. So it was like, I'm sorry I didn't lift that much. And it's like, okay, it's fine with me.
Yeah. So exactly. Every person's experience is unique, you know? Okay. And then final question for you is, what do you believe is the most valuable coaching skill?
Valuable coaching skill is adaptability. Listening to your client. Making sure that you, I guess this branches off into a couple things. One, making sure you're training them with what they want to be trained at, like how they want to be trained. So you can kind of learn who they are. So you need taught, communication skills a little bit beyond just being a drill sergeant and just telling someone to lift. So you need that skill to be able to listen and talk and have good opinions and make the gym fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then making sure that at the same time you're pushing someone, but then you can see the difference between them not wanting to lift it and then someone actually not being able to lift it.
Yes.
Sometimes be like, you can do it, or sometimes like, okay, yes, let's pull that back a bit.
Yeah. No, that is, again, excellent point. All of your answers have been really good to these rapid fire questions, and just commenting on that last bit. But yeah, personal trainers definitely need to know that there is a difference between when somebody mentally is blocked and doesn't want to lift or don't believe they can lift, and somebody who physically is just not at that point yet.
Yeah.
And it both can be a discouraging situation for the client, and so for personal trainers, they need to know to recognize both of those situations and handle them appropriately and with sensitivity, I guess.
Yes. And side note to that, sometimes the mask hides people's facial expressions sometimes. So you can't see how much people are grinning behind their mask.
Yep. That, I mean, again, very poignant, I guess you could say, very, very relevant to the time that we're in, is that learn to read just this. You just have to.
Yeah, I listen to when people are breathing, like, and how the smooth the weight's looking. If it looks like way too light.
Yeah. There you go. All right. Well, Colin, this has been great to sit down, chat with you, get to know more about, your history with training, and also learning about your own evolution as a personal trainer, sort of learning from wanting to train people like athletes and being the drill sergeant to now, fully realizing that it just takes other skills that sometimes they don't teach that in courses. They don't always teach that, sensitivity and adaptability in courses. So it's been really lovely to sit down with you. So people can learn more about you on our website, but is there anywhere else you'd like us to send them to get to know you more?
I guess social media wise, I got Instagram.
Okay.
Just Stapledon. So DESTAPLEDON.
Stapledon. Okay, perfect. I will include that in as a link below this video.
All right.
And is it just Instagram? Do you have Twitter or YouTube or any of that stuff?
No. I know. I keep forgetting about Twitter. That's what I mean. I don't do the social media stuff. There's a Facebook page. Who's on Facebook anymore?
There you go.
And TikTok. I've been TikToking.
Oh yeah, that's right. You do have a TikTok. Okay, we definitely need your TikTok account.
That one is under boxing. That one's under at brawler_box_.
Brawler. Okay, sweet. Super. So we will definitely be sending people. I remember you talking about TikTok and trying things out, and we definitely need to check out and send people to that page. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else that you'd like to add just before we close this off?
No, I hope everybody is that's listening is staying active and healthy. And don't forget, diet and sleep are some of the most important things besides being inside the gym. So.
Very true. Very true. Yep. Gotta fuel your body with the right fuel and then let it recover with good sleep.
Yes.
There you go. All right. Well, again, thank you so much, Colin, for being on the third episode of the Personal Trainers Who Care podcast. And thank you to everybody for watching. If you'd like to know more about training at Freeform Fitness, you can go to freeformfitness.ca. All right. Thanks. And we'll see you guys in the next one.